starts with the leadership in helping articulate that for the guys, and then what we're expecting out of the guys, right? We're expecting this. Are we getting that? Are we not getting that? We have guys showing up to player-only meetings late, guys not showing up to player-only meetings. Like, there's a lot that goes into that. Do we have to make this mandatory? Do we not have to make this mandatory? So it's a lot of things of that nature that we got to get cleaned up, and it starts with the little things like that.
Tua Tagovailoa, Dolphins quarterback, putting unnamed teammates on blast after the team's most recent loss. They're 1-5. They were up late. The Chargers took the game. But what took over the discussion in the aftermath of the game was Tua's decision to air out dirty laundry. And Devin, you were great on Football Night in America, articulating the problem with a team leader choosing to go public and call people out and create an issue now that they're going to have to deal with moving forward.
Yeah, I've always thought the reason to be a leader, one of the first things you handle is putting out fires for the rest of the guys. So the guys don't have to answer and have to talk about all these things. For one, what player-only meeting were they having? Like, usually there's a players-only meeting once. Maybe it happens in 3 weeks after that. But it sounded like he was saying player-only meetings that happen frequently. But again, we have no idea. But now we got questions. We want to know. So if I'm in a Miami beat reporter and hey, I'm not going to ask a hard-hitting question, but I'm going to go up to so-and-so and say, hey, what are the player-only meetings about? How often do they happen? Now you get a young guy or somebody that's new to the team. They don't know how to answer that. So you keep asking. Eventually you'll ask the right person. And then yesterday, just hearing how many people took this and was talking about this is a reflection of Mike McDaniel. No, the reflection of Mike McDaniel is the team. When a player goes out there and they say something, that has to be credited to the player. He didn't say, guys come in late to our meetings. He said, do we need to make the meetings mandatory? Which I got from that is, does the head coach need to say the meeting is mandatory and now you guys will come because the head coach said it? So usually when that happens, that means the player who's calling the meeting isn't respected by the rest of the guys, or they don't take it serious. And I think that is the issue. But again, when you say all of these things, the only thing that I got from all of that was the captain on the team's not leading the team the right way. And I think if Tua would have brought all of this up, I still would have thought it was extra, but I would have thought it was a lot better if he would have ended with, this is a reflection of me. This has a lot to do with me, of me getting these guys going, me leading these guys, because that's what it ultimately comes down to when you're a captain, you're the leader, and you're the starting quarterback on a team. That's your team. That's like everyone talks about these teams that have great quarterbacks. That's your team. And I think that's where Tua fell short. And then now he created a whole other mess with everything he said after the game.
Yeah, he came off as whining about his inability to lead his teammates, that they're not responding to him. And he didn't even seem to realize that was the problem. That's what made it even more confounding. He's confused as to why they're not just showing up, and he's deciding to talk publicly. When Mike McDaniel met with reporters on Sunday after Tua said what he said, he was trying to thread this weird little needle of, well, they do everything I want them to do, but Tua had something to say, and he's very direct in his communication, so he was direct. Yeah, not direct with the players, direct with the media, which kind of turns it on its head. By Monday, Mike McDaniel had a slightly different message, possibly influenced by things he might have heard Devin say on Football Night in America. Here's McDaniel from yesterday.
Regardless of an intent and what was on Tua's mind, after a loss as the franchise quarterback, that's not the forum to displace that. I think he knows that now. I do honestly believe it was not. There's no ill intention, but you're talking about I think kind of a misguided representation of player orchestrated film sessions, and the bottom line is no one's going to be happy, and always is looking for reasons for failure to succeed. So you're trying to look for reasons that you can attribute to losses. And there's heavy is the crown of being a franchise quarterback.
That's Mike McDaniel. And again, I like Mike McDaniel, but man, that style hits different when the team stinks. That kind of meandering, searching for larger, longer, more flowery words. There's something to be said for direct communication, especially when the team is circling the drain. And it feels like everything is circling the drain in Miami. Coach, GM, and new regime is going to want a new quarterback sooner than later, even though they owe him his full salary for 2026. This thing is an unfolding disaster that has yet to be declared. Like when there's a natural disaster, we wait for the declaration from the governor. Like we're just waiting for the governor to declare a state of emergency in Miami. And that's the next move for Stephen Ross. And when's it going to happen? That's kind of where we are with the Dolphins.
Yeah, and I've heard Cam Newton say this a lot. He said, we need less talkative Tua. We need Tua not talking as much. That's been better. But I would say that goes for the whole team. You just said, I think Mike McDaniel needs to be a little shorter, straight to the point, get in, get out, because that's the issues with this team right now. It's just too much talk, and it's less like getting things done on the field. And I know they've had a lot with injuries, maybe not having the right guys in the building to compete at the level that they want to compete at. But I think for this Dolphins team, the talking and everything around it, it's just muddying everything else up, and it's making them look worse as a team. And I think the hard things, I think we're all starting to realize, like, maybe Tua's just not that guy from a leadership standpoint. And, like, if your quarterback can play at a high level, because I've always thought this, leadership is attitude and performance. You got to perform, and you got to have the right attitude. Your quarterback doesn't always have to be the ultimate leader if you have other leaders. Miami's problem is, other than Tua, who else do we look to for any type of leadership out of that Dolphins team? And I think that has been an issue. They've gone out and got different guys, but no true homegrown guys that we can kind of count on and say they'll lead this football team.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.